we have Garrett. Looking forward to this one, brother. Garrett came over to the Florida event that we ran recently, and he's been on a journey into entrepreneurship. He's been a really supportive member of the network. I think everyone knows him because he's always around, always positive, always sharing the word of the Lord. And he wants to make this life on earth and a better place, and he's doing good things towards it. And it's really fun to see the entrepreneurial side growing within him as well. And we all have unique journeys and paths, and yours is inspiring as much as anyone's, Garrett.
Thank you, Keegan. Thanks for being here, guys. I encourage and invite you to give yourself a pat on the back or a hug just for taking the day to improve yourself, because that's, I think, the first step in being uncommon is making that decision. And I made that decision basically within the last year. Going to go over a little bit of it here, not much. This is more, as you can see, everyone, can I get some thumbs up or something from people who can see the screen just to make sure we're good? Thank you, Liam. See that, brother? Thank you, Keegan. Okay, gardening. Why? Little intro about me. Again, name's Garrett Duran, uncommon pro player, ambassador of Jesus Christ, and I'm now a gardening coach. That's my entrepreneurial effort. This is me eating a sunflower. Not really, but picture. So I'm going to give y'all 3 reasons why to garden. Food sovereignty is one, and I'm going to go over each of these. So if you don't have an idea of what it is, don't worry. Connection is another, and then return on investment. So food sovereignty is being in control of the methods by which you obtain your food. And this is a quote from, we'll go over it in a bit, who it's by. The greatest change we need to make is from consumption to production, even if on a small scale in our own gardens. If only 10% of us do this, there's enough for everyone. Hence the futility of revolutionaries who have no gardens, who depend on the very system they attack, and who produce words and bullets, not food and shelter. Again, by Bill Mollison. He's a co-founder of what's called permaculture. It's basically a combination of permanent and culture. So think of like, how can we live in a system that's actually sustainable versus just consume, and not be concerned about the inputs and outputs. So where does our food come from? This is on the topic of food sovereignty. If you're a traditional consumer, you're getting your food from like a restaurant or a fast food place or some kind of big box store. And then if you think a little deeper into that, you start to recognize like, oh, I have no idea where that food's actually coming from or how it gets there or how it's maintained. And these are like pervasive questions when you get deeply into it. And so the idea of food sovereignty is like, I want to know where my food's coming from and I want to know how it's produced. So if I could, in the chat, if you're a carnivore, let me know what your favorite cut of meat is, because this is kind of a new thing to me. I'm mostly a ground beef guy, but I'm just curious. Would like to see what kind of meat we like to eat. Ribeye, perfect. Okay, thanks, brother. Appreciate that. So carnivores, what does the meat that we eat actually eat? That is my question. And you see here, the meat that we eat eats plants. So if you know how to grow plants, you know how to grow the food that your food eats. And I believe that's a pretty like prudent thought topic, because if you can't feed your food, how are you going to eat? If you are able to produce the food that your food eats, you'll be in control of it. I'm curious if anyone thought that they'd be learning about how to connect through gardening today. But here's a way we can connect. So I encourage you to breathe deeply. Where does that air come from? And the answer is photosynthesis, which is the process by which plants take light and carbon dioxide and they turn it into oxygen and sugar for their development. So literally when we breathe in, we're breathing the output of plants. And when we breathe out, we are giving them food so that they can sustain themselves. So we're connecting to the planet and to the creation through breathing. And then I'm going to share a quick story about some people, Rusty and Jennifer. So I started a community gardening group where I'm from, and I told them I was going to go to the city to propose why they should grow a community garden. And this 72-year-old man named Rusty offered to come to the meeting. And this is a text. I hope y'all can see it. But he literally asked if he should bring a shovel, hoe, and fork to the meeting. And to me, that was just hilarious. And then Jennifer is a lady who I'm cleaning out my mom's house, and she offered to come over and help me clean it. She offered to actually pay me for some of the stuff. And then my dog ran away. She actually hopped into the person's yard that my dog had picked a fight with and helped me save my dog's life. And like, that was amazing to me that this person I had just met would do that. And I would not have connected with them like that if I had not have started this gardening group. And so if you're someone who's seeking connection, gardening is a great way to intimately connect with a really diverse group of people. Rusty's a 72-year-old Caucasian man. Jennifer is like a middle-aged Filipino American. So it's fascinating. Even like kids, when I start to talk to them about gardening, typically they're really interested in it. They're really fascinated by it and they want to learn more. So it's an easy way to connect with people on a deeper level. Now we'll talk return on investment. I know Uncommon Success is really business oriented. Here's a quote. Still other seeds fell on fertile soil and they sprouted, grew, and produced a crop that was 30, 60, even 100 times as much as had been planted. That's Jesus Christ. So this is a picture again of a sunflower. And if you see all these little outlines, those are all seeds. This plant came from one seed. So from that one seed, you have hundreds of seeds. And I know we like to talk about 10x. So if you want to multiply, growing plants is a fantastic way to do this. And composting is a process by which you turn food products, as you see in this picture, into dirt. And I kind of consider that the original compound interest, because you're taking your surplus and then you're turning it into more of what you can then add back into your production to make it more fruitful and more viable. The return from growing plants is the products also that you can make from them. So the list is huge. You can obviously make food crops or food products, but then you have medicines, you have beauty products, you have furnitures, you have ropes, you have textiles. Like the idea of not making things out of plants is fairly new in human history. It's only within the past like 200-300 years that we haven't primarily made things from plants. We've moved more towards plastics. And even plastics can be made out of plants. And then this is a really cool one. There's an Organic Valley co-op in America. They actually fuel the majority of their machines with plant-based oils. So like they literally grow sunflowers, turn it into fuel, and then they're powering like their tractors and their trucks on their farms. So to summarize, 3 major reasons why you might want to consider gardening. Food sovereignty. If you control how your food's produced, you control your livelihood. Connections, you can connect with the planet and connect with people. And then return on investment. Plants multiply and you can make just about anything from them. That is the presentation. Appreciate y'all.
Garrett, can you maybe share some ideas how we incorporate these ideas if we don't have any ground available?
Yeah, typically if you don't have like terrestrial means, so that terrestrial meaning soil or earth, there's things called hydroponics that you can do, which is just water, or there's aquaponics, which is incorporating fish and plants so that the waste product from the fish gets used to grow the plants. And you can also like have container gardens, or there's things called microgreens. Like you bring it in. If you don't have access to the earth, you can bring some of the earth into your home. And it's another good way to like filter the air in your home. As we mentioned, the plants produce air. So I would say either containering or small hydroponic setups would be a good start. And we're going to have our consult later, so I'm excited about that. We can get more in depth in it. There's definitely opportunities. I mean, it's just like if someone's training, like they're like, hey, I don't have access to a gym. What can I do? Well, you can do calisthenics. You can lift a rock. Like there's ways you can do it. And I definitely encourage you to reach out to me if you want, or reach out yourself on the internet. There's lots of resources.
Well done, Garrett. Great share. Please drop your Calendly as well, so you guys can book in if they want to go deeper on this. Super inspiring to have you in the network, and 100% producing food is key. This is a big next step for the villages. We definitely want a farmer full-time on the Montenegro site, and about who's coming along. It's on the radar. It's something we want to do a lot more of. So it's great to have you here. Appreciate your support. We had a go at an aquaponic thing a bunch of years ago. It's a story for another time.